Is disco a dirty word? You know.
You've got a bigger headache than Thomas Tuchel.
You know,
when it comes to picking his World Cup squad.
There's no market in pubs and most pubs for an 8-piece band.
But take them back to 1970s. Let's
back smoke.
Yeah, back smoke. Oh God.
Yeah. It's very intense. You want to do. I'm either in it or fully in it. You know, heads, shoulders, knees, toes, everything. Or I'm kind of.
So you need to make sure that all them overheads are covered.
Yeah.
Before you get petrol money back.
It's from the heart, and you're doing it for the right reasons. I don't know what they do within, in the spa, whether they actually put the show on or whether they clean it. I don't know, but I'm
anybody that would listen.
Anybody that would listen.
I wouldn't come and see our doctor's surgery and start picking scalpels up. So put it down and get out dance floor. And that were that. Picked hottest day of year, haven't we, to start doing a podcast?
Make it easy for ourselves, eh?
I know. Yeah. We don't do things by halves, do we?
No, we don't. No.
Oh, Christ, anyway.
Yeah.
Right, just, are you ready?
Yeah, we can go for it, see how we go.
Shall we go for it, see where this takes us then. Yeah. Right, so, welcome to the Available Bands podcast. So this is both sides of the stage, and we're going to be having meaningful conversations with music industry professionals, if we can call ourselves that. We're going to be having plenty of people on the show, and as we go along, obviously we're finding us feet. We're going to have some really good conversations, and today I'm joined by bandmaster of Soul Battalion. He's been a youth marching band leader, teacher, pretty much promoter. How's it?
Carry on, Dan.
Come on, James, fill us in.
Carry on, keep bigging me up.
I'll big you up, mate.
I'm soaking it
so
up.
I'm joined by none other than James Salt of Soul Battalion, Sheffield's finest soul and Motown band.
That's very kind of you, thank you.
So for people that don't know about Soul Battalion, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your mission and how you started out?
Yeah. Just before we do that, I just wanted to say a massive sort of thumbs up of appreciation for you, really, for your Stand Together campaign. And we had a talk about this the other week, didn't we? When we were together on Sunday.
We did.
And it takes a lot to do what you did, and to getting that together, and rest of the guys as well. But I know obviously you put a lot of time in spearheading it, and it's not an easy thing to do that. And a lot of appreciation from myself, because obviously I've known you a long time, as we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
Seeing that you've got what it takes, that tenacity to stick with something, because you don't know where it's going to go. And there's not many people that put all that art and effort into doing what you've done. And if it just saves one person, or if it just makes one person think, to me, you've achieved it. And in fact, you've achieved it anyway, as far as I'm concerned, just by doing it. So I just wanted to say that before we start with things.
You've caught me off guard a little bit there, actually.
Well, that's what it's all about.
It just flips you onto a foot.
Of course.
I appreciate that, James, because I think, for people listening out there, me and you go back a long time. And to the point where, I'm 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, you were 12, I think. I think I was in the early 20s.
Yeah, and so you taught me essentially how to play drums. So a lot of them qualities that you've just described, and spearheading a charity campaign for an England World Cup song.
Yeah.
They were taught. Of course,
yeah. It all sort of comes from within, and you've either kind of got that, or you haven't. But to do that, it's nothing about money as such. Obviously you're trying to get money for the campaign and awareness and that type of thing, but you're not getting any money out of it. In fact, I know damn well it'll be costing you money. Absolutely. To do it, but you're doing it because your heart's in the right place. You're not doing it to look at me, look at what we're trying to do, for yourselves. it's definitely for the campaign and for the awareness of it all. So everything for me, it's from the heart, and you're doing it for the right reasons. And obviously, you got full support of me and my family and Soul Battalion, as you know. And I wish you all the well with it. I know it's not fully over yet. But well done, mate.
It means a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
getting back to things then.
Yeah, try and remember where we were at. You have to look at my notes, I think. No, so obviously I want to talk about Soul Battalion. That's the reason I've invited you on. I mean, I've seen you right from the very beginning, and I've seen the empire that you put together from scratch. And I'm calling it an empire because you work so hard, and a lot of people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. But I know what happens because obviously I play in a band myself, and I know what it takes to, right from even just booking the gig and getting that yes and your foot through the door. From that moment on, there's so much that goes into being a band, and I want to know how you sort of tackle that, because you've got, you're not in a 3-4 piece rock band. No. You're in, how many people have you got now?
There's 8 core members, but in the band there's about 20 of us, and we've got something called the collective. And the collective, some people might call them depths, but I think things slightly different to most other people. I think depths is a bit of a cold word. That somebody's coming in just to do...
like there's no meaning behind it.
They're just coming in just to fill that role, just coming in and coming out. And what I wanted Soul Battalion to be is like a big family of people who everyone sort of gets, can get as much or as little as they put into it. Mm-hmm. And we set up that ethos of the collective. It wasn't there at the beginning. It's something that we learned from. So in the collective, we've probably got about another 10 members, 10 to 12 members. So
you essentially you've got 2 bands running.
We could almost put out 2 bands. We actually been asked to do it one New Year's Eve, but we basically there's only one of me, so there's only one van and there's only one PA, and I think that'd be a stretch too far. Yeah. But it helps to make us stronger because, like you say, we're an 8-piece band, and one of the things I see Soul Battalion as 3 different versions, loosely based around the singers that we've had. So we've had version 1, version 2, version 3, and we've learned every single version. And we've taken things out, what we can do better, and we micro-analyse everything that we do. There's a lot that goes off, and one of the things is that in version 1, we all got calendars together to see how many times we could gig. Because back then we had an agent, and I was fronting it up to this agent and saying, these are available dates that we've got. And I said to the guys, I've looked at everybody's holidays in this spreadsheet, and it's a sea of red, which means we can't gig.
So I'm assuming you've got a massive headache when it comes to booking gigs. I mean, all I have to do is jump in group chat and say, can we do this? And, within 10 minutes, usually I've got a reply of thumbs up, thumbs down. When you've obviously got as many people as you have, how do you do it? Do you just sort of book the gigs and hope that... they can do it, and if they can't do it, you get the depths to fill in.
Yeah, but what we do is it's quite simple actually. There's a lot of commitment that goes into the band. So members are core members right at the very beginning. It wasn't like this at the beginning. People didn't know what they were getting involved in, but the version that we've got now, everybody knows what the band is, and it's a busy band. We do this year. I think we're doing 52 gigs. Everyone knows what's expected of them. So everyone apart from the singer at the moment has got a dep, and some people have got 2 deps. And I said deps, I don't like to use that word, it's the collective members. And the collective members are there to be able to cover. Now, in version 1, what we found is we had this problem where there was no availability. So we looked at everybody's holidays and different things that we're doing, and back then people were involved in other bands as well. Mm-hmm. And I think we had about 4 dates we could give the agent. And I said, personally, I'm not putting the effort in of rehearsing each week to be able to just, drink tea on a Wednesday night or whatever, without something being a product to the end of it. I always want something. I'm happy to put the work in, but I want the reward.
You want the best out.
I want the best of what we
100%.
what we can get. So in version 2, we changed everything, and that's kind of when I took over, sort of being the manager and promoter of the band, so to speak. And we said, right, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little step back, and we're going to find people to cover those positions. So however many sort of collective members we need for each member, we're going to introduce them into the band.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are not just people that can play; these are people, first and foremost, that we can get along with, and people who are decent, good performers.
Yeah.
And kind of about third or fourth down the list is can they play. There's a lot more.
And I think that chemistry is probably the most important thing in a band. Like, I think you spend so much time in a room rehearsing together.
Of course.
Whether out on road,
Yeah.
doing gigs. You could load in at a venue at 1 o'clock, and you've got until 12 o'clock at night with them. So you probably spend more time with them than you do, with your missus and your kids.
You've got to make sure that when you. So version 1, we formed a band. We didn't know what we were doing with that band. There were lots of different people in that band, and that band were pulling in many different directions.
Yep.
By version 2, I thought, right, I know where this wants to go. I kind of got it by the neck a little bit, and we created the collective. So what happens with the collective is that I don't actually organise it's kind of a team sheet, essentially. And John, who plays Barry Sachs in the band, he kindly organises the team sheet.
Right.
So the understanding is, as a core member, you're down to do every gig. Then if you can't, and that's another thing, I don't call them gigs, I call them shows, but that's a different thing altogether.
Well, I understand why, because I've seen what you do.
Yeah. So we what happens is that the team sheet is there, and John organises it all. And if you're a core member, then you go and see John and say, I'm struggling to do this one, that one, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked me collective member, and yes, they're going to do that show. If it comes to it and they can't get a collective member to do the show,
mm-hmm.
then they've got to do the show. Regardless.
So in summary, you've got a bigger headache than Thomas Tuchel when it comes to picking his World Cup squad, because essentially you need to make sure that they're available, they've learnt the parts, and they turn up on the A game, because it's quite relentless actually with your shows. So tell me a little bit more about your show. Is it how you imagined it from day one?
No, not at all.
Have you still got somewhere to go with it?
Yeah, we've got a hell of a lot to go with it. I don't think the day you stop, I think you need to pack it in. If you stop wanting to improve what you're doing, then
mm-hmm.
For me, I'm very intense in what I do. I'm either in it or fully in it. Head, shoulders, knees, toes, everything, or I'm kind of I'm outside of it. I'm not one or the other, and I don't sleep very much.
No.
4 or 5, probably about 5 hours a night, 4 or 5 hours a night. But when I'm not doing, when I'm not working my day job and sort of sleeping, then I'm thinking how I can improve Soul Battalion and what I can do. I know some people, they say, well, that's crazy. What about other things? And obviously I've got a family life, I've got everything else that's going off. But I when Soul Battalion first started version 1, it was just like, I think it was a bit more like the Commitments. A group of people are going to cover. We're either going to love each other or we're going to fight each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All different people, all different kind of. I said this word, commitment levels.
Yeah, well, you do get that from people. We come from a marching band background.
We do.
So obviously, for those that are obviously just finding out, and didn't already know, James taught me how to play snare drum from a tender age of 12 or 11. I can't remember. That long ago, we're not bothered. And I think, when you're part of a band of 30 or 40 people, there's a heck of a lot of commitment that comes with that. You're doing competitions. You need to make sure that you're there on time. You need to know that you need to make sure that you've learnt your parts. And I think them qualities, have come through that sort of environment, and that's probably what you're sitting on now with your Soul Battalion. And do you have a passion for Soul and Motown as much as anything else, or have you just sort of landed with Soul and Motown?
I've always liked Soul and Motown. I've always had a bit of a older shoulders on me, you know what I mean? Older head on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. and I've always liked the older music. I like lots of different music, I like lots of different things. But Soul and Motown, I can really, I can get on with that.
Well, there's a good beat behind it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Obviously, as a drummer, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to get in pocket and drive it.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sadly, drumming is a very small part of what I do in the band. It's probably about 5% of what I do. That's the bit that I really love. And you go home at night, and I think if you've had a really good gig, you think, all the other exponential stuff that goes on, it's been worth it.
And to be fair, last thing that I ever do when I get to a gig is get my guitar out of case, which is weird. Yeah. I set alt sound up, I do alt cables, I make sure everything's switched on and powered, I make sure everyone else is happy, and then I go, right, I'll get my guitar out of case.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. I just think you were always taught your instrument is like your baby, coming back from them marching band, drum corps.
Yeah.
I think it were your drums or your uniform first. Which one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right. It's that kind of what it was installed into you. It was team ethic.
Yeah.
There's no I in team sort of thing. It was quite strict. Because it had to be, because when we were in it, there were 60, 70, 80 people in.
Yeah.
So there had to be rules. We're all of us sort of, I know there's different generations, but in the band, but all those that were marching at the time was of a similar age. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the kind of the skills, the playing skills that you got out of it, or the performing skills. It's all about those life skills that you get, like the skills that you get as a byproduct from doing it. Patience.
That's massive one.
Massive.
I don't think my kids have got any.
No, well, it's difficult into these days.
It's funny, actually. You just sort of reminded me of a conversation I had with my 9-year-old last week. She says, I'm bored. And I said, well, you're going to have to get used to being bored then.
Yeah.
We've got things in garden. It's a nice day.
Yeah,
We've got trampoline. Go and bounce on trampoline. Burn some energy off. Yeah. Get a ball. See how many times you can keep it off the floor.
Yeah.
Without touching it with your hands. Stuff like that. They don't know how to do that these days.
No. It's I hate sounding like an old dude and say, it's better in our day than it were now, because it's different.
But it were, though.
I think it were.
Let's just move that cloud. Well, it were better.
It were better. But my dad says it were better in his day, and it probably were, it probably were. The drum corps, the background really helped me and lots of other people that's been through it to focus on things, and it not only helps in the music background, but also helps in in the workplace as well. Yeah. Quite often these people go on to get jobs, and decent jobs.
Well,
because they can communicate. Because you've got to communicate, you've got to be good communicators, and quite a lot, with Soul Battalion, like you say, with there being a big band, 8-piece band, mm-hmm. a lot of it is about communication, making sure that everyone's on the same page and you're communicating with people and you're not keeping things to yourself, but you're sharing those ideas. Because then whatever idea you've got, if you can share it with the others, they often, because we've got a vast age range in our band from 17 to 70 plus, mm-hmm. and there's a lot of good ideas that can come from people, because you've got the experience at one end and you've got the youth at the other end. And if you can share it around, you get some good ideas that are coming through.
And there's a lot more tools as well these days, I suppose, to help you. You've got your WhatsApp group chats these days. Like you didn't have that back in the day.
If they read them.
If they read them, I mean...
The members of our band will know who they are. Who don't.
Don't call them out, James.
I won't call them out.
I mean, we're trying to get off onto a good start. We want people to watch this and enjoy it. So we're not calling people's out, but make sure you read them group chats and respond promptly, please. It just helps James out with his organising.
It does. But yeah, going back to you said about soul, and we didn't know. First of all, one of the founder members, Sam, who was on The Voice, he was the original singer. He wanted to sing soul, sing music in a soulful way, and some of it was soul.
It comes from the heart.
Yeah, some of the tunes that we're doing back then were soul, and some of them, quite frankly, weren't soul. But he did sing them in a soulful type of way. Okay. As things evolved into version 2 and version 3, it was definitely we started to own in. What we did, what was important, is we started to analyse the audience that we were getting. Yeah. And we were playing to the audience that we've got. So I think that's a big thing where a lot of bands miss out on that. They play tunes that they like and what they think people might like.
Yeah, guilty.
Other than actually what people do like.
Yeah.
And, when you're in an 8-piece band or even a 4-piece band and you're rowing or not rowing, you're discussing about kind of what genre should be doing, because we broadly cover soul, Motown, Northern Soul and disco, and we find that with our age demographic that we play to, which is 40 plus, generally around 50, 60, 70 mark, the disco doesn't go. They don't like no.
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah, there was a big thing in the 70s where the disco records, people got fed up with disco, and in America they went to a stadium and they were invited to burn all the disco records. So they had a big burning, ceremonial burning of all these disco records. Yeah, and it was disco become like a real dirty word because it had that much of it. In the 70s, just had enough of it. So our demographics still remember that. So you're good with soul, you're good with Motown, you're good with a bit of Northern Soul, not too much.
So did they all sit down when you start playing disco? They're all dancing and then literally just sit down?
That's one thing that we always do. Every tune that we play is designed for dancing. Or singing, but mainly dancing. And if we'll learn a tune and we'll play it, and if it doesn't get that reaction within the first couple of outings, we'll ditch it and move on.
And so you spend a lot of time rehearsing it.
Yeah.
And you put it out there.
Yeah.
It don't land.
Yeah.
And you think,
we'll get rid of it.
Get rid.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that's probably the best way to do it, because I think there's no point in carrying dead weight around in your set.
Yeah.
I think there's something that we're probably a bit guilty of, but I think a lot of the songs that we are doing weren't designed for me to be singing it. So we've not quite fully transitioned yet between a full set where it's suited to my voice.
Yeah.
So I think going into 2027, we're gonna go for it.
You need to play to your strengths.
And like you've just said, if it means ditching songs, we're going to be ditching songs left, right, and centre. But I think just sort of touching on your show and how you structure your show. Is there something that you do differently to a lot of bands, or is it just down to that mindset again, where you kind of you put on a good show, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just trying to big you up on my podcast. Well, I am.
Thank you.
But I do genuinely think you put on a great show, and I recently came to watch you at Crooks Club.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely blown away. You know, right from the get-go, moment, you walked out, you started playing. I think there were you and keyboardist and bassist, you were jamming, and then one by one, band members came in, and that first impression meant it was incredible. And you've got your screen, you've got your props, and together as a collective show, it just works.
Yeah, I think it stems back from when you decide that you want to form a band. Usually, it's a group of friends that come together, and getting back to that word, commitment levels. you've all got different level of commitment to give to that project or that band or whatever it might be, and you've got to all be on the same page. Because if that's just a few more, if that's just like a few hours a week, that's absolutely fine. But then you're only going to be doing, playing once a month in a local venue if you're lucky, or whatever. If you want to set your sights on something bigger, then that takes a hell of a lot more time, and there's a lot more commitment to that. So between yourselves, I think it took us to version 2 to be able to say, all right, yeah, okay, we are going to commit. And I dragged them sort of kicking and screaming a little bit in version 2. Version 3 is fully committed. They know what's coming.
Yeah.
When they join the band, when we speak to people new that are coming in, we kind of put them off, saying these are the low lights.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic, what we get out of it. Here's the commitment level, and sometimes we put people off. But what I wanted to do is I got vision for the band, and my vision was to get the band into theatres, because we're an 8-piece band, and there's no market in pubs and most clubs for an 8-piece band, because they can't afford to pay you.
I don't think they can afford to pay 4-piece bands.
Of course, times are hard.
It's just from a recent experience. Obviously, like you touched on, we've been doing a lot of charity work this year. And we've neglected the fact that we actually need paid gigs.
Of course.
We try and recuperate that little bit of time, from the time that we put in for playing this music. And I've reached out to a few venues myself, and the threshold for pay is really down in the dumps. And I'm not saying that from a greedy perspective. I'm just saying that from the the time and effort that goes into it to actually what you get out of it. You've really got to do it for the love of it. Otherwise, you're in the wrong game.
Of course, yeah. And the money in the 70s is probably better than what it is now. In the 80s, the music industry...
The disco days.
Yeah, the money's not gone up. The money was probably quite good back then.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's with inflation, everything else just stayed still. There's lots of people that come along that have a go at doing open mic nights, which have got the place and everything else, but it's just a cheap form of entertainment. It's got its place because people have got to come through the ranks and learn how to do things. But then that the single artists that do a lot as well. And again, there's a place for everyone. But it's money is tight out there. So one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to try and be in control of our own destiny. And so where there wasn't really a market for an 8-piece band, I thought I've got to create a market. I've got to create something that doesn't exist. So that's why we put on a lot of our own shows. So we get hired by the bigger clubs, dance halls, theatres and that type of thing. But we do a lot of our own shows as well, where we ticket it ourselves. We're in charge of the marketing that we do. And then, if we do really well, we get paid handsomely. If we don't, then you don't. But because of the effort that we put in and the momentum that we've got, we're always on the right side of things.
And I think that deserves a lot of credit, because it's not easy putting on your own gig, and it's not easy promoting your own gig, marketing your own gig, and selling tickets, and putting bums on seats, because essentially that's what you're relying on to make that night successful. If there's so many other people that are going to need to get paid before you, so you need to make sure that all them overheads are covered. Before before you get your petrol money back. And that's the sad reality of the music industry in today's day and age. But I suppose that kind of leads me on to sort of like the next part of this podcast, where obviously you've got a packed out calendar.
Yeah.
Where can we see you coming up? Come on, tell us.
Well, we're here, there, and everywhere. So next Sunday, which is the 12th of July, we're doing a picnic in the park in Ashbourne, which is put on by the people in Ashbourne. So that's awesome. In a bandstand, which is something quite nice to do on a Sunday afternoon.
Undercover?
Yeah, undercover from the elements. I think it's going to be toasting. And then the 18th of July, we're at Dronfield Hilltop Club. That's one that we've done since we started. And the thing is about doing clubs, any venues actually, really, is you've got to understand that they're finding it hard as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting by the brewery is sort of screwing every last penny out of them.
Right.
And I think sometimes what can happen is, again, communication. Bands need to advertise the fact that they're playing in places,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes they'll turn up and they'll think that all the advertising should be down to the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you know, it's a two-way thing. The venue needs to at least put the posters up,
Yeah.
you know, that you've sent them, get them displayed, and, you know, try and promote it from within, put it on the socials, etc. But equally, when band members' friends don't even know that the band's playing, that's not good either.
Yeah.
So they got to, you know, it's that promoting that you need to do. And when we first started playing up at Hilltop, we was an unknown band because we played there, you know, quite a number of years now.
Mm.
And the guy that runs it, he said, well, you know, kind of, yeah, all right, you're so Battalion, kind of, my budget is only going to be X, you know, and it was way under that we wanted to do it for. But I said, yeah, come on, let's do it. Because I said to him, okay, if we do this one at X, your figure, and we fill it, then how's about next time we get our figure? And he says, yeah, that sounds reasonable. And so then that gave us the motivation to make sure that we filled it. And that's a lot of hard work. That's going around notice boards, putting out posters.
Yeah.
We spend each time we do that gig, we'll spend 2 or 3 hours. And that was just using this as an example. Going around Dronfield, putting all the posters up on all the boards. You do Facebook marketing that we do. My brother Charlie, who does a lot of hard work on social media, he joins all the local groups, constantly posting it. He's got a scheduler when he posts. So it's there's quite a lot going on behind the scenes. Yeah. And that's just for one gig.
Now, I think I'm going to get you all back on here and another day because I think we've got a whole new episode here about algorithms on social media, because I genuinely think that's an absolute minefield.
It is.
And I know full well that you've had meetings with Meta, probably Google as well. I know what you're like, and I think, you know, you've pushed these people for as much information as you can to be able to make it work for you. And it's something that I've struggled with. Now, I'll probably put this podcast out and there'll be 3 listeners, me, you, and my mate Lee.
Yeah.
And guaranteed, you know, that's the most difficult thing. Everybody in this day and age is a content creator, but getting that out there, whether you're in a band or you're doing a podcast, that seems to be the difficult bit, even though the tools are so far advanced these days, and you could put it out there. It just gets swallowed up into this big cloud.
Yeah, I think what you've got to be careful of is, first of all, it's all a massive learning curve. Then you don't want to get disheartened too much by it, because the way that I am, because I'm quite intense, I can beat up on myself quite easily. So when everybody else thinks, wow, look at this, you've done that, you've done the other. And like, I think I've sometimes got to sit back, or Charlie says to me, look, you know, what you're stressing over, look what you've done. Don't look at this little, you know, what you're stressing about. Look at what you've achieved in the time that you've achieved it. And I've got to remind myself of that sometimes.
Pinch yourself.
Yeah, because you can easily get bogged down in, I've not sold enough tickets. And when I say enough tickets, you know, our first mission, in version 2, I wanted to do theatres. Yeah. And I wanted to create a theatre show. And we're not done with that yet. We've got a long way to go with the theatre show. And the theatre show we call the Best of Soul and Motown, as you know. And we do regularly go to theatres, and we do regularly sell them out at a level. You know, obviously there's different capacity theatres. And we put on a good show and we get some fantastic feedback. But it takes a lot of effort.
Is there any particular methods that you think works best for you? I mean, and you probably talk from your own experience here. Is there any particular methods of promoting that work best? I know you do quite a lot of leaflet dropping when you're working in the area.
Yeah, I think you got to know. I think for that, the answer to that question is you've got to know your demographic, who know your audience, because we're lucky. because we know our audience inside out. We know the type of person that's going to come to our gigs.
Yep.
Shows.
Shows.
Every time I said that, I had to sort of correct myself. So we know who's going to come, and because of that, we can do our marketing to those people. So the type of people that we're marketing at, you know, the demographic, you know, which are probably going to be in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Newsletters are a thing. You know, they'll subscribe to newsletters.
Really?
Because for a young generation, that might not work.
No, you definitely don't get that in like dive bars and stuff like that.
No. We've got, you know, they're still reading email and responding to emails. You see, they're not like the younger brigade.
Yeah.
So we're always collecting from our ticket sales. We obviously the GDPR question.
Cool.
Can we keep your email for newsletters? Yes, and if you tick yes for that, every show we scrape that information off into a database and we add them into our newsletter.
So essentially, you are literally going above and beyond what a lot of bands do. I mean, we're really guilty of just getting together once a week, you know, smashing a few tunes out, and you know, that's bare minimum really sometimes compared to the effort that you're putting in. And I think it goes a long way. And I kind of want to lead on to this. I've tried to coax you into it a few times.
Here we go.
But no, essentially, you've started, you know, with nothing. So we've started with no band, and now you're on version 3 of Soul Battalion.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation a while back. I say a while back, a few months back, and you said to me, the dream gig's just landed.
Yeah.
Tell me about that dream gig.
Yeah, well, I think a busy band is a happy band. So that's hence why we gig a lot. And I think there's always got to be something there to look forward to. It's a bit like when you're going to work every week and you're looking forward to your holiday. There's always got to be that you know, marquee show, gig, whatever. You know, there's always got to be something there.
Wembley Stadium?
Yeah, of course, there's always got to be something there. You've got to be realistic in that, but also you need to be able to dream. And what happened is my mum was sadly not with us anymore. She was a massive supporter of Soul Battalion. She's not a musician in any shape, way, or form, but because she'd been around music a long time with my dad, she kind of knew what were good and what were bad, and what what's got legs and what hasn't, sort of thing. And she always said to me, "I think you've got something with Soul Battalion. I think you could play anywhere for anyone."
Wow!
And for my mum to say that, you know, I was thinking, "Oh, right." And she weren't just saying it because I were a son. Because she'd been around my dad, you know, potentially he was a far greater musician than I am. But she knew that it was, you know, the band had got legs, so to speak. And that sort of gave me a bit of confidence to think, well, I wonder how far I can push it. And Charlie's always pushing me, saying, you know, James, you know, some of it's joking and some of it's real. Some of it, you know, you should be looking at this venue next. And I'm like, are you real? If you're real, what kind of venue is this? You know. And we used to go on holiday to Bridlington, take the kids, and we took my mum and my dad came along and everything else. And we've done a number of holidays in Brid, and I've walked past the Bridlington Spa many times and think, wow, this would be a good one to do. I'd like to do this. This is kind of a bucket list tick. But how can I make it happen? And so I sent an email saying, you know, who we were. I think this was around about version 2 of the band, who we were. It was a bit naive, to be fair. I sent it off to like an info address, and hoping somebody might read it. And obviously, to an info address, no one ever does for booking in bands. It just
I can't say nothing besides his info.
Yeah, well, no,
but I'm manning it. It's you know, I do reply.
No, true. I mean, I think it's when these event places,
I know
you know, they get so much so many people, so many bands, so many events organising and wanting to put their show on.
Uh-huh.
That it just gets lost if you send an. You need to know who the person's making the decision. You need to get to that person.
So as a hit and hope,
you
put this email out there.
I did about 6 years ago, and it went nowhere. But I'm not one to give in, and there's many examples of where I've tried and tried and tried, and eventually I've kind of got there. And so I thought, right, 6 months later, I'll send it again, and this sort of went on for probably for about 4 years, really. To and fro, with slightly amending the email, trying to send it to a different person. I might pick up on a website that I find I don't know what they do within, in the spa, whether they actually put the show on or whether they're cleaner. I don't know, but I'm sending,
anybody that would listen.
Anybody that would listen, yeah. And how it all came about is actually landing the gig. Is that we went to I went to go and see. It was my birthday a year ago, and I went with a good friend of mine, two good friends of mine, Dean and Simon.
Shout out to Dean and Simon.
Yeah, and Dean lives in Brid, and he got some tickets to go and see a 60s band.
Mm-hmm.
And just what happened to be happening on my birthday weekend. And while I was there, and I was looking at what they were doing good and what they were not doing.
As you do as a musician.
Oh, analysing everything. And he's got a lot of faith in what I do, Dean. And Dean says, "You could do this. There's nothing here. What's happening on that stage that your band couldn't do." And I thought, he's right. He really is right. And I think we could put a really good show on there, because we put a good show on anywhere else, so why can't we do it there? So I went to the bar. I spoke to a lady at the bar, and I said, "Oh, do you don't happen to know anybody? Name anybody puts the events on here?" And she said, "Well, I actually work in the office." And I thought, wow. That? She says, "Yeah, I work in the office, but I also work on the bar." So I thought, "Oh, that's awesome. It's really good." I said, "You wouldn't have an email address?" So anyway, fast forward on. She gave me this email address. It wasn't the email address of the right person, but they put me in touch with the right person.
So you're getting up that ladder.
Getting up the ladder. So I sent my email, to the right person, and I got a lovely email back saying that we're looking at our scheduling for next year, and we're going to have a meeting about it, and your band is in our folder.
Oof, we're getting closer then.
Getting closer. So I was buzzed by that, because a lot of people say they've played at Bridlington Spa, and there is a lot of people that have played at Bridlington Spa.
Of course.
But some people say they've played at Bridlington Spa when they don't mean the Royal Hall that we're playing in, which is the main hall. They mean in the side room that they've got, which is a lovely little room.
Yeah.
But it's not that room that Ray's played in. And
I'll tell you a funny story about that room, actually. That side room overlooking sea.
Yeah.
I played a corporate gig in there quite a while back.
Oh, yeah.
For a load of doctors.
Oh, did you?
Yes. And a funny story is, one of these doctors went and proceeded to pick up one of our guitarist's guitars and started playing along with it. Safe to say that didn't go down very well, and my guitarist stopped gig, which is highly unprofessional, may I just add, but he made a point of saying, "I wouldn't come into our doctor's surgery and start picking scalpels up." So put it down and get up dance floor. And that were that, and he did come up after and apologise, as you do, and I think once he saw, but it's just amazing what drink does to you, isn't it?
Yeah. Funny things, what people do when there's a band, you probably wouldn't do normally,
Self-entitlement, I'm a doctor, I can play that guitar.
I can do what I want to do, yeah. I've had 10 pints, I can do anything.
So you're playing in the big main room?
Yes, we are, and it's a Monday evening. It's July the 27th, and we're playing the main room of the Spa. We've got I'm really looking forward to it. We have a support artist that comes with us she's called Emma Evans, Soul Girl, Emma Evans Soul Girl on Facebook, and she does like a warm-up set for us. It's all era appropriate, soul and Motown, so that kind of warms
And
things
again,
up for us.
it just adds to
It
atmosphere as
does.
well. You know, people are arriving or
Exactly, it just adds to the night, and then we're going to go on and do our 2 hour show, 2 sets,
2 hours.
32 dance floor fillers.
Awesome.
Yeah, and and we're going to go and we're going to rip it up.
Tickets.
Tickets are available from Bridlington Spa. They're £20 each. They're going really well at the moment. We're on target for what we need to achieve.
Uh-huh.
It's that was another thing, trying to sell that amount of tickets. It's a lot of tickets to sell.
That's a lot of tickets.
To build, because that's a big
What,
room.
What is the capacity in there? You know.
It's the capacity is different for different events.
Uh-huh.
So our event is set out for a cabaret
Okay.
style event. So there's obviously a large dance floor area, and then there's the round sort of cabaret seating.
Yeah.
With round tables with the chairs dotted
Is
around.
there a bit of a veranda as well, or is that?
That's going to be shut off on our night. They don't always open that up. That's just there for the sort of big concerts, because standing the place holds thousands of people, but the capacity for when we're on, I believe, is 600.
And that's going to be a good night with 600 people. If you fill that, you sell it out.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be really good. I'm a realist, and I think that would be an unbelievable achievement. You never know, because there's lots of holiday people going around.
Yeah.
I think a realistic target for us would be somewhere around 350, 400.
Well, it's holiday season, so and hopefully I'll try and get this out beforehand.
Yeah.
We'll try and get it in Bridlington sites, and if there's people that are sort of listening to this podcast that didn't know about Soul Battalion and fancy giving them a try, get yourself to Bridlington Spa, because it's the pinnacle of Soul Battalion. Or is there somewhere else we can go?
No, we're actually it's all under wraps at the moment, and it's kind of, I can't say anything about it at all. But once one's been landed, I'm always looking for the next one. It's the first thing that we ever landed was the Lyric Theatre in Dinnington. That was the very first theatre that we did, and that was the first kind of marquee gig. I think you've always got to be looking for something that little step up, and over the years we've been taking these little steps, going to bigger theatres and bigger venues, and Bridlington's the biggest one that we've done by far, but I don't think it'll be the biggest one that we ever do. We've got things in the pipeline down the future. We're and we're at the early stages of negotiation of some really sort of tasty big events. Will it happen? I don't know. Will we put every effort into
it will, because we're going to believe it's going to happen. These little emails chipping away at these music industry professionals. You got to chew their ears off until the point where they get bored of you, and then eventually they go, do you know what, we're going to get them on.
Of course, there's a good example of that. A good example of that is a fantastic gem of a music venue called the Diamond in Sutton in Ashfield. It's not a bar that puts on music. It's a music venue that's got a bar.
Right. Okay.
It's got accommodation for anybody who's stopping over, and also those rooms are artist themed,
right,
as well. It's an amazing place. It's a magical place for bands to play. But there's a lot of bands that play there, and we tried to, get a show there a number of years ago when it first come to my attention. But they'd already got 2 other big soul and Motown bands. So, quite frankly, the email that come back is, we've already got 2, we don't need a third.
Oh.
And they were right. As much as I was annoyed, there were people that had filled that position.
Right, why would we get somebody else in if we've already got somebody we know, we trust?
Yeah, they've already done it. They're already doing it. They're already selling tickets. They're already bringing people in. What do we need another one for, But I thought, well, sooner or later, something may happen with one of those bands. Or, we just might get an opportunity for some other reason, So every 6 months, I'd sort of got it in my calendar that I was going to drop another email to say, hiya, we're here still, and this is what we're doing now, and sort of keep them informed of what we've been doing.
Fair play.
not like not every month, but every 6 to 8, 9 months, sort
Yeah,
of send that
yeah,
out.
yeah,
When I know that they're probably going to be scheduling for their next coming year.
yeah.
People are scheduling round about June, July for the following year.
I've found that, which is with kind of it seems almost as if you're going at it too early,
Yeah.
but you're not.
No,
You know,
we've got gigs in 228.
I'm guilty of
People
waiting,
open
and yeah, I'm
calendars.
guilty of waiting until December, January
Yeah, too late.
for that year, and you're too late. You've missed a lot of opportunities by that point. So at the earliest available, you have got to start thinking ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So getting back to the diamonds, and I continued over a period of about 2.5 years sending this message. And one day I just got a random, well, it weren't random, but it was just an email back, which I'm quite shocked by, that's saying, can you do us a show in, I think it was about 2 weeks' time? Somebody's pulled out. It wasn't Soul and Motown night, it was a different night altogether. But if you do it and you do well, we'll get you on our roster for next year.
Fair play.
And it just so happened that it were a free Saturday for us in the calendar. So, we went, we did it, we had an amazing night. They could see what we were made of.
Yeah.
It was great for us, great for them. The people that were there that night asked for us to come back. The venue booked us immediately for another show, which we'd done this year. That was a sellout. It was a fantastic, and the thing is about that place as well. They put the Soul and Motown on Sunday afternoon. A lot of shows now are moving to the daytime, especially for our demographic.
Right. Is that because they just generally don't go out late? Or?
I think what it is they want to go out and have a beer on a Saturday and a Sunday, but they don't want to lose the next day.
I see.
So they don't want to be going out. It's a trend that's happening.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense.
You see all these day discos.
So if just like slight change of topic, if you must. If you was just starting a band, so if we'll rewind clock.
Yeah.
You were just starting out as a young lad.
Yeah.
And you're in. We're rewinding the clock. I can't get my words out. Rewinding the clock.
Yeah.
But we're still in 2027.
Right.
Or 2026, should we say?
Even, yeah.
I'm thinking of 2027 because we're booking gigs for next year already.
Of course, yeah.
Would you have any advice to anybody that's wanting to start a band in, this day and age? And is there anything that you would have done differently back then?
Yeah. Lots.
That you I can't get my words out. But yeah, there's so many things. Tell me about what you would have done differently.
Yeah, first thing is you've got to understand. I never understood. I was in it like head first, and I wanted it to be the best it could be, and I was 100 mile an hour. But not everybody else, in fact, no one else, had wanted to put that same level of commitment in. When they see the success that we're getting, then you've got more people coming on board that are willing to put more time and commitment in. So I think when you're starting out, you got to think about what you're trying to achieve from it, because the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. But you've got to make sure you're not a solo artist, you're a band. And you've got to make sure that the passengers or the people on the bus with you are actually, they're on the same page.
Yeah, I think you've got to be quite selfless, haven't you? As part of a band, you've got to be able to let your ego go to one side to make things work.
Of course, you've got to think about the greater good. And many times, I've wanted to explode at various times, but I've not, because it's not been for the greater good. And not every decision. I've not always rolled with every decision what I thought was the best decision. Mm-hmm. Not always. Sometimes I've let the band roll with certain things. But I do think that there has got to be somebody that's driving the bus. Yeah. Because otherwise the bus doesn't go nowhere.
So you need a mission.
Yeah, you've got to be someone who's passionate, and you've got to make depending on what you want to do. If you're a bunch of school leavers, or college leavers, or whatever, and you want to have some fun for a few months, crack on and make memories.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to create something more than that, you know, you're wanting to take things to different levels, then you've got to make sure that the commitment level of everyone is the same, because the weakness will be found very quickly. Oh, you know, I can't come this week. Why? I'm going out with my mates. You know, you can't have that. You know, things. You know, all right. You know, I can't come because you know it's my 50th birthday, it's my 20th birthday, or I can't come because you know I'm really poorly or whatever. Fair enough. But you've got to be able to have that commitment level. So, the massive thing is the commitment level. Then, like you said earlier on, you've got to form a bunch of people that you can actually get along with, because you know you've got the same mindset.
Yep.
Or if it's not the same mindset, it's people. Because in our band, we've got, like I said, we've got various ages, we've got different outlooks on everything, but it complements each other, you know. And it might, somebody's view was younger than me might not be my view, or somebody's view older than me might not be my view, but the views nonetheless, and everyone's got their own kind of valid view, if you like.
Yeah.
And you've got to take that, as a band leader, you've got to take all that into consideration. People are not going to work hard for the greater good if they think they're not being heard.
Yeah.
But you've got to, when you're making the decisions, because somebody's got to make the decisions, you've got to make the decisions what you think is right and the greater good. You've got to have some democracy, but too much of that stunts the progress.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fine balance of where you're wanting to go. Then the next thing is you know, you can break it down even further than that, because if we're getting new members into the band for whatever reason, the very first thing is, can we get along with them?
Yeah.
Can you get along?
You sort of made that point a little bit earlier on, where you said actually the third or fourth down that list is. Can they actually play the instrument that they're applying for?
Yeah. Well, to start with, we were just looking for players.
Yeah.
Can we get someone who can play? Actually, somebody who won't mind joining a band that didn't know where it were going, you know. And they're not always. They could be. We're all of different abilities within what we do, but the common ground that we've all got is we want to be the best we can be. So when we come together, you know, if we've not played well individually, the individual player won't say, "Oh, don't matter, I just had an off night." You can see they're actually upset with themselves. Like, they'd be like, "Wow, I played a wrong note there, or I did this, and I'm not happy about that. I'm going to do better in the second set." It's like a football team where we're all kind of playing. We're all on the same page, trying to play together.
Yeah.
We're not. Also, you've got to be careful you don't get no egos. Because if you've got anybody in there who thinks they're a superstar, the superstar players are not the best team members.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I think, you know, you're only as good as your weakest member. We know that from, like, as drum corps days.
Yeah.
You know, you could be stood shoulder to shoulder with somebody that's technically not as good as you, or it might be even better than you.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're only as good as you, and you're only as good as them, because you're stood side by side and you're playing the same music.
Yeah.
So, you know, from a performance level, you can take that up a notch.
Yeah.
And you can match the energy. Technically, you might not be there, but you're matching that energy, and I think that sometimes comes across more to the audience. And you can personally beat yourself up for a performance.
You can.
And you might think you can come off stage, it's the worst thing that you've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, drop notes left, right, and centre. I didn't come in here, but I don't think a lot of people actually notice, and I think you've got to be mindful of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It all depends what kind of level you take it to. I mean, we record every show that we do, and then I will listen to that before rehearsals. And if there's odd mistakes that happen, Obviously, as you know, I can read music and everything else. So I know what things should sound like. But just because I can't play a brass instrument, but I know kind of when they're dropping a note or if it's kind of out of tune or all that type of stuff. So, what we do is we record everything, and I listen to it, and then if we need to address things, we do it in the rehearsal room. And we get it right, because our repertoire is quite big. It's probably 60, 70 tunes in the bank.
And you've got 2 hours.
Well, we actually we got 2 lots of 2 hours if we need them, because we rehearse every week and we learn new tunes. We learn probably 12 new tunes a year. So that database of tunes is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So what we do is we try and switch out tunes, switch in tunes. So some of the tunes you might not have played for a while, so you need to brush them back up again. But at the shows, we record everything that we do, so that can sort of be analysed. And I think, to be honest, like you said, the audience who might not be, they might not be able to play an instrument, but they know. They'll know if something's not quite right, but they'll not know what.
Usually from your face.
Right. Yeah.
Usually.
Or they might, if you're having an off night, they might think, there's something not quite right, but I'm not sure what it is. You know what I mean? But you can get like you say, if you're performing and you're looking like you're having a good time, that really, really does stand you in good stead. That really helps to put it across that you're a good band. Now, for me, the ultimate is, you've got to have a clean musical show with a good visual show. Like I said to you before, people come to see a band. No one ever says, I went to listen to a band.
Yeah.
They went, I went to go and see a band. But some bands will just stand there in the street clothes and they'll not move one iota. They might be the best musicians. They could be, the region's, world's best musicians. They could be absolutely amazing musicians. But if you've got a team full of Ronaldos,
all wearing Crocs,
you ain't got you ain't got anybody in goal, have you? You ain't got anybody defending. You ain't got people in the right positions.
True.
You know what I mean? So I think that if you wanted to go somewhere with a band and you wanted to make I see it as a product of what we do. Like when you're at work, you might be making a product. Music, it's an art, but also if you put it on a show, it's a product. It's a product. If you're trying to make the product the best it can be, then what you need to do is that you need to analyse what you're doing and who you're delivering it to.
Of course.
So what we do is we don't just look at the music and split down the music. We also look at what we can improve visually. We have set choreography scenes that happen at a certain time, and we're improving that all the time. And next year we're gonna do a lot. We've got more scenery and stuff like that to add for visual effects. So you alluded to, we've got a big screen. Charlie works very hard on putting out. My brother Charlie puts a lot of effort into doing video screens that complement what we do, which is great. And it's not just a projection screen, because as you know, with the scenery that we've got, it's actually it looks like an old-fashioned TV. And we use that for our shows, and then we've got got record props, and we've got some new props that we're working on at the moment, and we're adding lighting effects, and we're also going to do different kind of mood scenes where some people might come off stage, and we might have little formations within the theatre shows. That won't work for when we're doing, our dance halls, where it wants to be high energy.
We got Soul Battalion in 6D. You're going to be pumping things through air fresheners, aren't you? Next, just give them take them back to 1970s. Let's put
fag smoke.
Yeah, fag smoke. Oh God.
Yeah. So, but as trying to help somebody else coming through and learning by the mistakes. If you want to make something of it, you need to know that the quality of what you're doing is good, and also critique it with yourselves, and don't try not to be confrontive with people, because it's so people can get really straight away. They can start saying, what's the word where they get sensitive, very sensitive. Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, you get extremely sensitive because you don't want anybody sort of calling you out, so to speak, right? But in our band, we always encourage people to say if they hear something that's not quite right, you know, it's constructive criticism.
Yeah, just speak
But
up. Yeah,
speak up. Just say, I think, you know, the guitar might be clashing with the keys, or I think one of the brass players might be playing a wrong note there, so on and so on. And it just helps to improve the product.
And I think finding that balance between 8 musicians is something it's very much of a skill. I played in bands, you know, heavily guitar relied bands, and we've added keys in at a later date. And what you don't realise is that balance then has to change. When you start inviting keys into party, you've got to drop a guitar.
Yeah.
You know, almost to get that balance right. And I think sometimes you could just put layer upon layer upon layer, and you know, you just end up with mush.
You do, and we have that same, you know, we've had that same problem as well. One of the problems that we had is that the brass was drowning out the lead vocals, because when they got excited, they play louder.
Of course.
And if you're on the dance floor, the first thing, you don't hear the speakers as such, because the speaker's a bit too close. What you're hearing is the acoustic carry from the brass. That's the first thing that hits you. And another thing that I always do, which, you know, it's something I've always done, is after we do a show, I go and speak to people in the audience, and I try, and I don't want people to say, "Oh, you were brilliant, you were great." Some people do, but I try and get some honest feedback.
Yeah.
And sometimes what people do, they'll tell you things. They'll say, "It was great, but I couldn't hear the singer." I
don't think bands do that enough. I think they kind of, you know, turn up, they'll play, pack up and go.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I've started doing that before and after.
Yeah.
Just trying to gauge what kind of audience have you going to have tonight. You know, are they going to be people that we can really work with? Because it's almost the two. You know, you feed off their energy.
It is,
and they feed off yours. So if you give them excitement, they'll go with it.
That's it. One of the things that we do, one of the latest things that we do, and now I didn't know whether to do this, and I thought, well, I had an idea. And I thought,
Bing.
And I thought, I'll give this a go. And it worked for me really well at festivals, and now I've started to do it at theatres. To break the ice, I'll just go on and say a few words about the band.
Of course.
And, you know, it's not a sermon, it's very short and sweet. Who likes soul? Who likes Motown, disco? Is disco a dirty word? You know, and if the disco doesn't get a big cheer, then we know to lay off the disco. Who likes Northern soul?
Charlie, change that set list, please.
Scroll out the disco. You know, if that don't work quite as well. Weddings, and to younger crowd, the disco flies. To the older crowd, not so much. And then also, what I'll say, you know, I'll finish off by saying, you know, let's say wherever, like other week when we're at Grantham, I'll say, Grantham, this is your house, you know, your party. Let's entertain, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of breaks the ice between the band and you can't do that necessarily in a pub. In certain environments,
I think you can.
Maybe you can.
I think you can.
Well, maybe you can, but I think what you need to do as a band quickly, you've got to break down the barrier, because you don't want it where it's us and them. It's got to be, this is a party, and we're all in this party.
I think working men clubs, you do get that divide, you know.
Yeah, some of them you do. Some of the older ones, I mean, not naming any, but some that we do. I mean, Charlie, when he deps and plays part of the collective,
talented young man
on guitar, he loves the challenge. He loves the challenge, and I think what we do is. I think, like you say, traditional working men's clubs, the old school ones, they'll sit there, and if they've not seen you before, they're totally sussing you out. They're analysing you, right? You know,
waiting for bingo.
If they're waiting for bingo as well, that's the most important thing. But it's like, impress me, show me what you've got. Come on, give it me.
I don't like that spotlight. I'll be honest with you. As a musician, playing in front of
it's hostile.
Yeah, but I think it is. But I just don't like that feeling of eyes on, watching.
Yeah.
Go on then, make a mistake.
Yeah.
You're going to make one.
Yeah.
You genuinely, you do, you know, you're more than likely to make a mistake and it's that kind of environment. Then, you know, when they're invited in and it's a bit more of a welcome, you brought that and that barrier, like you've just said.
Yeah.
And you know, you're all in it together at the end of the day. It's a party. And that's something that we always say. We always say, we're having a party.
Yeah.
You know, you can either come on and,
Yeah.
you know, get involved, or you can just drink.
Sit down, drink, yeah.
Drink, and eat your peanuts.
Yeah, I think theatres are the worst for that. The ones with the auditoriums, the one where they're just sitting in the seat,
Yeah.
and they're not seeing you, and like, you know, you can hear a pin drop, and all eyes are on.
That must be scary.
The first few times of doing that, that is when your music's got to be on point.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, you can hear it.
Do you have anything? Have you put anything into your show, or to sort of break that ice? Obviously, other than coming out and saying, "Do you like disco?" and etc. and finding out what your audience likes. Is there ever a moment where it is deadly quiet, or do you try and think, right from them arriving, you know, they're going to get the drinks, they're going to take the seats, and you know, then they're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Do you always have something happening? Because I mean, it's quite a different thing for me. I'm used to pubs and clubs.
Yeah.
I'm not used to theatres. So,
yeah. Well, we've on the screen show, which when we're at theatres, we use their own big screens, which is set up, you know, right at the back of the stage, massive, great, big, you know, projection screens. And what we do is that Charlie's done it again. He's done fantastic. He does a lot of fantastic work for us behind the scenes, but as you know, but he done videos of like upcoming shows. So like the one, if we're doing theatres now, it'll pan out to Brid and it'll have the dates on it. It'll have QR code for the tickets and that type of stuff. So there's something for them to watch. It's not just still. It's not just quiet. There's something there that's happening. And then before we actually get into the show, we have what some people might call them like a walk-on number. It's got soul time.
And does that volume just gradually increase?
Yeah, and well, over the years we've been doing theatres. What the production has got greater and greater and greater, and like I said, we've still got a hell of a lot more to do. But part of the production that we do is that we have like an introduction video before we come on. So it sets the scenes back in the 60s and the fashions and all this sort of stuff. And it's got all kinds of audio effects coming in and out, and voiceovers and different things. And then it plays Shirley Ellis into Soul Time, which is a big Northern Soul number. And it sets the scene ready for us.
So the intensity is slowly creeping up to a point where when you come on, you know, the straight up dancing, and I've seen that firsthand at Crooks Club because I was so impressed that by third song, I don't think there were anyone in the seats. You know, it was incredible, and I was watching in awe, James. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people are impressed with that, but that goes back to the song selection that we do, and the fact that, you know, if it doesn't work, we get rid of it. There's been some banging tunes which we've had in the set list where I thought, you know, Move On Up, right? You know, what a tune that is, but it doesn't land because people don't tend to know how to dance to it, so they'll sit down.
But
you know, so you think so we're thinking it's a great tune, it's brilliant, and let's put it in. But this is the thing, this is what I always say. Your first tune that you do needs to be an impact tune.
Yeah.
No one's going to dance. I mean, sometimes we do get people dancing. Yeah. It's rare than first.
But it's a statement.
But it's a statement. We're here, look at this, we're putting on a show, you know. So we always look for a grand opening. We've had two in the past. We're on the second one at the moment. And then, you know, we'll run this one for so long.
Did you start with Crooks? Lost
in Music.
Lost in Music, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I remembered it.
It's Lost in Music.
Impact.
Yeah, and we build it up, like you said before, where we start off with a rhythm section, then the singer joins us, then we have a bit of a dance and a bit of boogie, and then the brass come from, they're on wireless, so the brass come from nowhere, and they play in the audience.
Upfront sewers.
They play within the audience, and then they come back. That's the sort of big kind of opening statement, and people think, wow, we're in for a good night here. It sort of sets the scene.
Yeah.
So you hit them between the eyes at that point. Then you've got to drop it back down again because you need somewhere to go. you know, with the rest of the set. But our third number in the set is Jimmy Mac.
Jimmy Mac.
Yeah. That's it. I'm not going to sing because I can't sing.
Come on, yes. Jimmy Mac.
You don't want to hear me sing. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and I know by Jimmy Mac we're going to have a dance floor.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
And because that gets them going. So the first tune is Here We Are, statement piece. Second tune, I want to dance, but what's everybody else going to do? Mm-hmm. Third tune, sod it, I'm going to dance. And then once one's up, they're all going to get up.
And that comes from years and years of tried and tested methods.
It is, and we do it a funny way. The song choice that we do, it's odd. I didn't want to be the one that dictates the tunes and say, right, we must do this, must do that, and do that. I've got an idea what we should do, and every now and again, once in a blue moon, I'll pull rank and I'll say, look, we've got to do this particular tune because I know it's going to fly. The last time that happened is with suggestion of Charlie's, and it was actually Lost in Music as a new opener, and it's worked brilliantly. There's another one coming up soon, which I'm not going to mention because I don't want to spoil things. Where I've sort of said, yeah, we need to.
So if you want to hear this song, you probably need to buy a ticket for Brid.
It'll be after Brid. It'll be
Brid.
Yeah,
wow.
it'll be in September time.
When they're at Wembley Stadium, then.
we're always for marketing purpose. We're always 3 months in advance because that's what we've got. That's the lead time for all the shows. For production and trying to make the production bigger and better, we're constantly at that. You know, constantly thinking the tunes, and we've got an arranger that arranges all the tunes. He lives. I've never met him, only for telephone conversations. Yeah, and we send him 6 tunes at a time, and he arranges those tunes. Nice. And how we come to the 6 is quite unique, really. Is that to start with, people were giving random tunes. Some of that weren't even soul Motown. In fact, some of it could have even been blues or rockabilly or whatever. You know, it wasn't really in our genre.
Yeah.
But rather than slapping people down and saying, no, we can't do that because it's not this, and it can't do that because it's not that, we decided that we were going to come up with a system for voting. So there's 8 of us in the band, and we all
on group chat that nobody reads.
No. We've got this. One of the guys, John, good old Johnny organises it.
Hands up.
Good old Johnny organises it, where there's 8 of us in the band, we put 5 suggestions in, so we end up with 40 tunes.
Okay.
And then what we all do, away from everyone else, we all vote the tune that we want to do the most by giving it 10 points. Down, then the second tune, 9.
Now this is
8,
interesting.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the ones that we don't want to do, after we've gone to 1, then everything else is a 0, right? And then what he'll do is, he'll put it into his spreadsheets, turn it all around, and we'll end up with a top 10.
Nice.
Which is scored, the highest scored. And we'll present that to our singer, and we'll say, look, this is 10 here. No point in getting them to do 1 if they're not feeling the tune.
Right, okay.
You know, never push singers into doing stuff that they don't want to do. Like you said earlier on, if your tunes don't fit you, get rid of them.
The set's not designed for me, but I've kind of took it on. So, yeah, that's something that we're looking at.
Every singer that we've had has thrown out tunes that they didn't think that they could do justice to. And I just see that as being playing to a strengths. No point in doing a tune that you've not got full commitment in.
That's incredible.
Because you just can't pull it off. It's just no point. So.
I just think that the way that you do things in your band, I think it's unique. I have never come across a band that was to the amount of effort that you do, even just when it comes down to picking a song to play. Yeah. The amount of the thought process that goes into that, and the system that you've got to make sure that, let's be honest, no crap gets through.
That's it, you see.
You're filtering out what's working before it's even got there.
But it's still demographic. You're still giving people an option to promote, to actually put out their choices.
Yes, but I suppose when you've got 9 people in the band, you've got 9 different opinions.
You've got all these different opinions and different tastes. But one thing I always say, and I'm sick of me hearing me say it, is don't do it because you like it, because it's got the best bass lick, the best brass lick, the best drum. But don't do that. Please do not do that. Do think who our audience is, and think what they'd want to hear.
Yeah.
What's going to have?
What is it going to make them dance, or
is
it
going
to
to
make them
dance?
sing?
Yeah,
it's got to do one of them too.
It's got to do something. Yeah. For instance, when we're doing theatres, we will do some non-dance numbers, like Walk On By. It's not a dancer, but it's nice to hear in an auditorium. Normally we'll keep the slow tunes well out of the set. We won't put any slow tunes in, because our people want to get up and they want to dance and want to keep the dance floor moving. We don't want to kill the dance floor. Last thing you want to do. But in the theatre, you can experiment more, and you can put in more of the slow tunes. So Hold Back the Night. Not Hold Back the Night. Charlie, help me on the ones that the ones that we're doing on the dancey ones. Not the dancey ones. Sorry, the ballads. My Guy. My Guy.
Oh, My Guy.
My Guy.
Right, yeah.
Because that's one that the people in the theatre can sing to. They know they can go, My Guy.
Yeah. So there's a point in it that everybody will know, even if you don't know that song, you'll know that bit.
They can sing that bit. Yeah. They can sing along to it. We would never play something with that BPM.
No.
On a dance gig, on a in a dance hall. No point, because you'd kill it and you'd have to start all over again.
Of course.
So we've got tunes which we can put in, which are more kind of, which help to break things up from in a theatre, in an auditorium, where people are sat and watching, and you can give a lot of light and shade to the show, bring it up, take it down.
So again, you're still thinking about that visual aspect as well as your musical aspect. Yeah. So it's working hand in hand, and you've got that balance. There's so many things going off.
Yeah.
And it's nothing short but incredible. But I think we can talk all night, James. I'll be honest with you. I've just clocked time out. We've been on for an hour and 20.
Oh wow!
So I think just to wrap it up, we've had a few football puns in here somewhere. So I'm going to do a penalty shoot at a quick fire round questions, and there's no right or wrong answer.
Yep.
And I sort of designed these to call your art. Now I'm only kidding.
Yep.
So it's a fast fire round.
Yeah.
First thing that comes to your head, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. So the best gig that you've ever played?
Best gig we've ever played. Oh God, I love Tramlines.
Tramlines.
Yeah.
All weekend?
Sorry?
All weekend?
No, the gig that we played, we got a slot on a Sunday or a Saturday.
Brilliant.
Down Devonshire Green, yeah.
Brilliant. Devonshire Green. It's brilliant down there. They do all sorts, don't they?
Yeah.
Fast fire. Sorry. Worst gig and why?
Worst gig. First gig we ever did. Rothwell Working Men's Club in Leeds. We stank it out. We weren't ready in any shape, way, or form. Absolutely character building. They said that we were the worst band that they'd ever had, and in all their history. And basically, they never wanted to see us again. And everyone needs a gig like that.
Brilliant. One venue every band should experience.
One venue that everyone should experience. The Diamond.
Diamond in Mansfield.
Yeah,
Sutton and Ashfield.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got it's a magical little venue where magic happens.
And you can stay there after. One thing bands should stop doing.
One thing that bands should stop doing.
Stop doing.
Oh, that's a good one, that, Danny. What should stop doing? That's a good one, mate. That is a good one. Stop wasting the time doing things that don't work just for the sake of it.
Good answer.
Going on and on and on and on and on, running the same things, or doing the same tunes, or playing the same venues that are not working. Just take time out, think about it, regroup, fresh ideas, and back on it.
Put you on spot there, yeah.
You did.
Yeah. Last question then. One thing bands should do more of.
Communicate. So everyone knows where everyone's at. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about the music. I'm just talking about where they want to go with the band.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. So thanks for having us. I'm saying thanks for having us, like you have been on your podcast.
Thank you.
No, so this is the first episode of the Both Sides of the Stage podcast. I've been Dan Haynes and I've been joined by James Salt of Soul Battalion. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please, you know what to do on social media these days. I don't know where them buttons are. Like, subscribe, share it. And also, if you think there's anything that we should talk about in future episodes, please get in touch and let me know what we should talk about. I'm going to have some more music industry professionals. I've been joined by the absolute master in Sheffield, James Salt, part of the Salt family, which is mega in, like I say, we could talk all night.
We could. We go back a long way, don't we? From old days on city roads when we were eating Beckett's fish and chips.
We do. Oh, God. My daughter says, best fish cake in Sheffield. Can I have one? I went, am I to disappoint? Let's go Beckett's.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Let's have it. No, well, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Danny.
Good night.
Thank you.
Cheers.